Hey everybody, my name is Sharon Quinn. I'm also known as the original Runway Diva, and you are watching The Kennedy Project. I'm here today with Mrs. Hazel S. Kennedy, the matriarch of the Kennedy family, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her life. Hi, Miss Hazel.
Hello.
Thank you for coming. I'm happy to be here with you with your pretty self.
This is my pleasure.
Good.
Pleasure to be here.
Now tell me, now this is about you, so I want to talk about you. Tell me, you're a retired first grade teacher. How long have you been teaching?
I taught for 35 years.
Did you like, well, you must have liked it if you stayed there 35
years. Yes, I enjoyed teaching, and I taught mostly first graders, so therefore I saw them come in. During the time I started teaching, the children there was a kindergarten program, more four-year-old program. So therefore they came from the home, that environment, into the classroom. And I taught during the time of segregation. And so, of course, those children came in almost with little or no academic preparation. And so they come in with little or nothing, but they leave out with so much. They're able to read, write, do arithmetic, and also they can reason, think, you know. So I see a lot of growth, very important, because you give them that foundation. And so they're able to begin to know the real meaning of learning to read and be a little more independent, self-reliance. And then also the social aspect of it, working with the other children and playing with them and getting along, sharing, because some children might come from a home where they're an only child, but in a classroom they have to learn to share things because everybody don't have the same tools to work with, or they have to share games or puzzles. And sometimes you might ask one of the others that is a little more advanced to work with Johnny over there. And so you just see them develop so much until it's a joy for you.
Yeah. And in first grade, they're like little sponges. They just sort of suck up everything.
They do. One thing I noticed about being a teacher, no matter how you would feel before you got there, you couldn't display that attitude with the children because you're developing a whole child. So you don't want them to see the mood swings, and that make them a little better person as they grow up. And the schedule and everything.
You know, because I don't see that. We don't get a lot of that now. These kids get whatever the teacher feel like that day. That's what they're getting nowadays, and I think that's brilliant.
Oh yeah.
To try to have them focus on what's happening with them rather than what's happening with you.
That's true.
Now I have a question. Now I said first graders, first to third grade, they're literally little sponges. They just soak up everything. They are. And I've heard from other teachers that once you get to maybe high school, if you don't get them by a certain age, then you lose them forever. Do you think that's true? Do you think that they're unteachable after a certain point?
That's what statistics say if the child is not reading by maybe third grade, second grade, you've lost them. But if they get a teacher in that third grade is interested in wanting to help you do your best and take you where you are and lead you on, somehow they can open up the child's ability to want to learn to read or do better in school. For example, we have a band teacher in our system that was from Louisiana. And he tells often when they do write-ups on him how he was repeated in the 4th grade, 6th grade. And I said, no, I never saw anybody repeat that much. And then he dropped out. And later on, he went back. His interest was in music. So when he did decide that he wanted to improve himself, he went on and then he went to college. He finished Livingstone. He works in our system. And he has a program more on hands-on. And his teaching is very unique. When he was at my son's school, the children that misbehave was sent to him. So he decided to have a program in band. And you know, to say he was doing it for the boys that was misbehaving, a drumline. He started off with drumline. But so many people, the parents were interested in their children learning how to play music, but by that time they had taken it out of the elementary school. So what he did, he not only taught the children that were misbehaving, he taught other children, and then he also had a summer camp in the program over at Livingstone, and he had first graders. He said, the statistics said you should not teach a child that's not interested in music at 6 years. They can't do this and that. And he taught those children how to play different instruments. And there was actually a band. He called it Mini Funk Band. I'm sure he probably let them choose a name. So he's still going strong today. And his program in his classroom, he's traveled to China and various parts of the world, teaching his method of how he reached the children in his classroom, because he has a lot of hands-on. So, see, that was hidden talent. Child could have been bored in school.
And absolutely.
And so, with an ability that, and what he's doing now, he probably was bored in school.
You flunked seemingly repeating classes like that.
So many. So I don't know his problem, but yes. You can't give up on a child. You have to work with them and encourage them, even if they just learn one word a day when they are older than first graders or something. You know, just tell them how great they are. Make them feel good about themselves, and that helps them a lot.
I agree. But I like that whole hands-on thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I wasn't a problem kid. I was actually very bright as a young child. When I got to high school and got a great distance away from my mother, that's when all of the bad, well, not bad, I just skipped a lot of school, except for my music class. I would show up for music class and then skip the rest of the day. So I know how important, you know, music is in school, even as they're, even today, still trying to take it out of the curriculum. It can't all be just work. Don't you agree?
It's true. Y'all know. No, they forgot to have fun. Matter of fact, if you make it seem as though it's a fun activity, they're more apt to want to do it. It doesn't seem like a challenge. Another thing, when you're teaching children, even at a young age, play games in the house. Show me red. You know, I would cook, I asked the children, show me red, show me this, and work with them like that. But I've learned more by working with my grandchildren than I did teaching school, because they walk to a different beat. So,
and how do you encourage that love of learning with your grandchildren?
with them, just tell them great, and I make a little sound with them, and I would grade their papers and give them a big smiley face, or if they didn't do one or two, I tell them, look at it, you know, do it again. I found working with them was very easy. They had other problems. They didn't want to do anything when they got home. They were exhausted. They were tired. But we got through it. and now they're doing good.
So you and your husband both were the first black teachers to teach in predominantly white schools.
Yes, I really think he paved the way for me, because I worked in South Carolina, and after Jackie was born, so he carried me down to superintendents, and it seems as though he liked hiring home people and also man and wife, and so I think he paved the way for me there.
Oh, okay.
And I was hired in the school system, and that's where I spent most of my time, in Rowan County, in the school system. So.
I love the fact that you guys talk about each other. Tell me about, you know what I want to know about that I didn't ask him?
What?
Tell me about the courtship, because you guys have been together for a long time.
We were in school together, and when we talked back in certain grades, but when we got in high school, in the 9th grade, we had some classes together, and then in the 10th grade, that's when I was on the basketball team, and he was the manager of the team, and so I don't know, we just started talking to each other, and began to date. Well, I couldn't date right away,
Okay.
because I was about 14 then.
Okay.
And so, coming from an old school and old mother, it had to, move up to about 16.
Okay.
And it was about time for me to come out of high school then.
So he was your first love?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so I'm just going to be
We
all
had some
nosy.
other puppy loves, but he was
But he was the one.
He was the one.
Did you know that even as far back as when you guys were in school?
I didn't think about it very much about the married bit in there, but we had gone to school, gone together all during those 3 years of high school, and then we went to the same college. So,
now was he following you or were you following him?
well, I guess it would say I followed him because at first I went to Barbara Scotia.
Okay.
And then my father, being that Zionite that he said, African Methodist Episcopal Church, he said, he told his wife, she needs to go to our school. That's how much they love that little college. So I transferred to Livingstone.
Okay.
And so we saw each other quite a bit there on campus, but we weren't under each other all the time. But it was so odd. Whenever if I was in the hall and someone would be talking to me, after a while, he suddenly appeared.
Sure.
I wouldn't know, came from out of thin air. But yes.
We call that stalking
and
now.
Then,
No offense, sir.
He's just kind of up here. And so we dated all during high school. And then after we got out of college, all during college, off and on, you know how that love goes. When we graduated, and he carried me south to be interviewed for a job. And like the man said, he came up and asked him, what did he do? And he told him. But we lived, at that time there were no houses or homes, no houses or hotels or apartments to live in. So we roomed with the people that were there in the town. He stayed
This
across
was still
town.
segregation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He stayed across town, and I stayed on the other side of town. And the people that I lived with seemed to take me in like a family. And there was an older lady there. She was our grandmother, so to speak. She just treated him like it was king when he came over to see me. And so 2 years later, we got married.
How did he propose? This is what I want to know.
He proposed to me on a Christmas Eve. I'm glad you said that. On a Christmas Eve. And then I said, well, yes. And we'll get married in about 2 years after that. Aww. So that's why I was kind of late mother starting my family.
Late? Oh, well, how old were you when you had Jackie, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 25, I think.
And
I got married 24.
All right, this is
25.
a different time. This is a different
Yeah.
time. Okay, so yeah, that would have been.
Yes, because a lot of the classmates that didn't attend college or dropped out, they had children and they were maybe 13 or something. Some of them had children.
You said at 13?
No, their children were like nearing that.
Oh.
And so I didn't. No,
I was like, wait a minute.
I don't know how. Some of them might have had some pretty early, but after they finished high school, they probably got married. There was a 4-year gap, and then 6, so the children was up there.
Now, Jackie also told me that you are a seamstress and you made all of your children's clothes for years, debutante ball dress and the brothers' suits. Tell me about that.
Well, when I was in school, we took homemade, and so I took that skill from home economics, and I would make most of their clothes, and I would make like little jumpsuits for my son now. But the regular suits, no. And but I did make her debutante ball dress.
For Jackie?
And for Jackie. Mm-hmm.
You got a picture of that somewhere?
No, no, I haven't.
Now, do you still sew?
Not with the machine anymore because that one broke and I didn't buy another one. But I hand sew, hem, do those kind of things. Can do a little altering for myself only. And
did you pass that down to your children?
No, because they didn't seem interested in it.
Okay, I'm not gonna say nothing because I always tell a story. I always wanted to know, but that's not my gift. And I busted up my mother's machine to the point where she was like, okay, don't touch it anymore. Okay. Now, before we go, I want you to tell me about your babies and how you feel about them and what they mean to you and all that good stuff.
Okay. My children has done wonderfully in Mom's eyesight. Jackie finished North Carolina Central, UNC at Greensboro, and she thought she was coming home because she came out like after 3 years and a half. Thought she was coming home to help her daddy in the office. After she was there about a week, she said, "Oh, Mom, I got this letter from the school in New York." So I was saying across the table, because children were spaced pretty good. About 4 years between she and her brother, and 6 years between the brother and the baby. So that was time to put her through school and then rest, and then time for him to come in. Well, we flew up here to see if the school was legit, found a place for her to stay, and felt good. Jackie is a person that wants to be independent. Now, she wasn't ever just defiant at home, but she had a way, and so we just let her be.
That's that headstrong firstborn stuff.
Oh, yes, she was. And she got in New York, and she liked it. And she sort of made her way. And so she's at various jobs. And she's made us very proud. But she always let us know that she wanted to be an actor. That was her thrust.
Okay.
But I had to inform her, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Because she said, "Do you want me to forget my dreams?" I said, no, don't ever put your dreams aside. I said, but don't put all your eggs in one basket, you know. So she became versatile. And she still feels that, you know, this is her niche, and I see that she enjoys it. And I enjoy seeing what she does. I didn't know she was taking here in school until she, you know, called and told me. But she's a beautiful child. She will do anything for you. And she just seemed not to want us to want for anything. So half the time I don't tell her anything.
As it should be.
I want, well, she does. And so we're real proud of her. And she keeps check on us and just put things where she can know what we're doing. Because she sees the change in us as she comes in home. We don't see a lot of it, but she does. But she's been a wonderful child. Then we move on to Ray. Ray was the second child, the middle child. And so he was the one that wanted to, he left home at 15 going on 16. He went to School of Science and Math. Did very well there, and then he went to go to Georgia Tech. And there he majored in architect. He's worked in architect from the time he came out of school, and then he acquired his master, and then he went to Chicago, and he's there now, and he works there. And while Lily is the baby, she's a joy. She's the one for the children. She's had many good jobs. She finished North Carolina Central and worked for a firm her first year in South Carolina. And from there, her husband went into service, so she moved back home with the children. And so she's not far from me now, as far as distance at home.
So you get to see the grandbabies
I get
all
to
the
see them
time.
all the time.
Okay.
And say, we get them at, I get the baby Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But the other ones until they were about 5th grade. I got them every day, and we did homework and fed them, and then their mother would pick them up. So they seem more like mine, and I hate to interfere a lot, and I try to just say something one time. If she doesn't pick up on it, I just let it slide.
Okay, and on that note, I'm going to stop you because we're out of time. That went by really quickly.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Miss Hazel S. Kennedy. I'm going to call her Mama Kennedy from now on, for joining and sitting down and talking with me today. Don't forget, my name is Sharon Quinn. I'm the original Runway Diva, and you have been watching The Kennedy Project. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.